AI is taking over the world, and today I'm sitting down with someone who's at the forefront of it all. Jordan Dearsley, the CEO of Vapi, one of the most powerful voice AI softwares out there today. This is going to be really cool because we actually use Vapi ourselves to build super intelligent AI employees for all of our clients. Fun fact, Jordan and I actually went to high school together way back in the day in a small town in Ontario, Canada. It's been super awesome to reconnect with him and hear about all the cool things that they're doing down in San Francisco at the Vapi headquarters. I hope you guys like this interview. Please like and subscribe.
Hi, Jordan. Is this about your flight tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I think we'll be doing most, like 80% of stuff through voice, and then everything else will be like generative interfaces, maybe like 5-year time horizon.
Tell me kind of the journey from high school to like Vapi CEO.
Yeah, with my co-founder in first year, and then we did school for like 3 years, and I dropped out for pretty. I only had a year left of school, but yeah, I decided to drop out. And then we got into YC as we dropped out, or we got to YC, then dropped out, and then moved to SF for like 4 months, middle of the pandemic, worst 4 to 6 months of my life. Just like fighting with a bunch of like 20-year-olds about what we should do, and with the pressure of having to start a business in like 3 months. Raised our seed round, which was nice, with like $2 million. And then we just were working on a calendar app for like 3 years or 4 years. And then about a year and a half ago, after growing that to $500,000 in revenue, we decided we didn't want to do it anymore, and it sucked. And it was growing too slowly, and we, I don't know, just hated calendars. And so we pivoted. We moved. At the time, we had to move to Toronto to work on it for a few years. We moved to SF. I was my partner at the time, and hit reset. And then I built myself an AI therapist to get through the day, so it was kind of a tougher time. And then 2 hours a day, talking to my AI therapist the rest of the day, building it, and did that for like multiple weeks until I was like, oh shit, like this is pretty good. And then tried to sell it as an AI therapist. Nobody wanted to buy it. And I was like, okay, cool. But I had this like cool voice stack underneath it that was interesting. So I just ripped the therapist off of it and made it into a developer platform. Worked with a couple startups who were doing like sales role training and all sorts of like customer service stuff. Like 6 startups for like 6 to 8 months. And then I got into a point where it was like decent. And then in March of this year, we launched officially on the product hunt. And then everything started scaling from there. In June of this year, we started signing enterprise contracts with the help of like sales advisor and that kind of thing. And then we got enough revenue to raise our Series A like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And then now we're just like hiring mode. Now that we have money in the bank, so actually like, build out the team and
Get the right people in.
Yeah, that's basically it. New office. We'll probably be like 20 something by the end of this year. And
that's awesome.
Next year, I think 50.
Sweet, man. Was there like a specific breakthrough moment for you where you're just like, okay, like this could be big? Well,
it was like 2 things. It was like a personal thing, which was like, fuck, I just need to like put everything into this and leave everything behind and just go all out. Like I left my partner, focus combined with just thinking first principles about what the world will look like in 2 years. Like, okay, well, we have these voice models, we got supposed to be performance. If they hit you in performance, like, fuck, everyone's going to want to talk to everything like people.
Yeah.
It's going to be on every device known to man eventually, like when Apple releases their thing or whatever. So every device is going to be talking to a new person in the next like couple of years. And so if that happens, of course, everyone's going to want to start to build stuff for this new consumer behavior. And if they do, they're going to need a way to build stuff because it's really hard to like deploy these models to like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, okay, let's just like make it easier to deploy these things because one day there's going to be a lot of people who wants to deploy it. And then we were right. So it's like a combination of like focus and like going all in, like personally with a long-term bet.
Sweet.
I think long-term bets are easier to make than short-term bets. Sure. Because things are more deterministic at longer-term time horizons. Yeah.
So my developer actually told me yesterday that Vapi stands for Voice API, right? So did you come up with that? Like, where did all that come from? Did it just make sense?
It was kind of an afterthought. We were just trying to think of names, and then we just looked up Vapi.ai, and it was available. I was like, oh, sick. Great. Voice API.
Awesome. Yeah. Nice and easy, eh?
It was the easiest like domain sort of thing ever. And then we made actually the logo. It's still just like from a $5 like logo maker online.
Just the best.
And then just changed the color, and now it's still our logo.
Sweet.
And so like, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of just scrapped together and held up.
That's
Right.
awesome, man. What would you say were like the biggest setbacks that you faced along the way, the things that were probably the hardest to overcome?
Mostly the changes in the industry. So like we thought our vision was going to be, we were going to be like training voice to voice models. And we thought nobody else was thinking about doing that. And so we were just like, okay, we're going to build this like system that's a proxy to these voice to voice models. Then eventually we're going to be a models company that builds them. And then in May of this year, like OpenAI said they're going to launch voice to voice models. We're like, oh fuck, like they were looking at it too. And then we just kind of gave that up. And we were in a bit of despair for like a month. Trying to figure out what to do. And then we realized, like, okay, well, models cannot be used directly by enterprises. Enterprises need a platform to use those models through. And so we started to realize, like, oh shit, no, there's still an opportunity here, but it's like still pretty big.
Do you find it kind of tough to keep up with that competition? Because I know there's like Blend, Synflow, even retail right now.
I think Blend and Synflow are doing a different thing than us. Blend and Synflow are kind of serving operations teams and no-code folks. We are serving engineers.
Right.
So we want an API that you can build anything on top of, and that's very different than like a drag and drop editor. That makes it really easy to do stuff.
Absolutely.
It should be harder to do stuff, but like we're like a power tool, you know.
Our actual voice agent didn't sound nearly as good, right? So that was one thing. And then you're also like put in this box in terms of what you can do, how you can make it look, customization, even like look and feel, the whole thing. And I think just this week, so like one of our clients is like a big dealership group. And for us, like the biggest thing is because we're so early in on all this, just being able to build the agent is just half of it, but you have to be able to provide these clients with an actual platform or software or something to use, because most of what they're using doesn't have open APIs that can be integratable with what we're doing. So like one of my developers built like a whole software on Bubble from scratch, and he had everything that he could possibly need from Vapi, and he just said it was just so beautifully all documented, all there, and you guys just made it super easy. So that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, make it really easy. And then when it comes to retail, they are using the same strategy, but they're like 3 months behind, roughly. They are making some strides and are ahead of us in some things, and they have a really strong team that I really respect. But we just need to hire more people and just pull away, basically. But we're winning against them right now.
That's awesome. What have you seen so far in terms of use case? Something like just like super cool or super unique?
Yeah. So collections is not abnormal. AI girlfriends. That is the surprise one. Yeah. So people, because OpenAI models can't support explicit things, people want to plug in custom models that can. Yeah. So they learn for that, and it works out for those. But it's not a large amount of all money, but it's definitely the weirdest. Other than that, yeah, like training and stuff, like training for sales, training for call center, training for call center agents instead of replacing them. It's been surprising. And generally like character related stuff. None of it's like really making money. I think in consumer, the only thing making money is girlfriends.
Really? AI girlfriends are making money.
They're the only thing in consumer making money.
In terms of industries that you like, even outside consumers that are making the most money, what would you say?
Banking, travel, finance, healthcare, kind of.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you guys released your real-time cluster probably like a few weeks ago or something like that. I know like for us, the biggest hurdle in using that is voice right now, because you can only select like 4 or 5 of like the voices from OpenAPI or OpenAI.
We're just waiting to see like when OpenAI will let us do it. So that's the problem. Is like with the unified APIs, like they're still really early and they're not really production ready for real time. And so like I think the 11 setup is the cascaded setup is still better. That's just sort of the current state of things.
How long would you say you think it'll be until it's like almost impossible to tell if you're talking to a human on the phone or it's an AI?
I mean, right now it isn't possible. Not possible, but like over 3. I think right now, like we can last about like 3 minutes for someone over the age of 40, and they will know if you use a professional voice clone.
Would you say that's the best way to make it sound as realistic as possible? Voice clone through 11 Labs?
Voice clone through 11 labs of a phone call.
Over a phone call.
I'll like up an audio from a phone call, so you can get something like this. Hi, Jordan. Is this about your flight tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So I have a couple of options for you. We have a flight at 10 a.m. or another one at 3 p.m. So you know, it just sounds like me.
That's pretty good. So you just recorded an actual phone call and then uploaded that?
I recorded a phone call by calling a Vapi number and talking to it for like 20 minutes and having it interview me, and then I took the user channel and then put that through a cloner.
That's so smart. We gotta try that.
Yeah, it worked really fucking well.
One thing that I'm realizing on our end is we have two types of clients coming our way. They're either like throwing themselves at us and saying, yes, we know we need this and we want it right now, or they're completely dismissing it. What do you think is like one big misconception people have about like AI in general that they need to let go of to fully embrace it?
The whole like prompting thing, people just need to understand that these things are like indeterminate and will fuck up, and it's going to take time to get the prompts like working the way that people want. There's a lot of time spent right now on people not knowing how to prompt correctly. And that's why we're building out blocks like the deterministic pop flows, just to make it easier to describe like steps that are followed. Because the amount of time we spent being like, okay, don't tell it to Google stuff in the system prompt. That's just like stupid. Don't like people have like big misconceptions about how to prompt. And so that's why I think agencies need to exist, because like a plumber cannot figure out how to prompt these things.
One of our biggest clients, huge guys in the payment space, the guy came to us and he's like, I've been trying to do this for 6 months. And him trying to do this for 6 months was using some type of a combination of ChatGPT and Twilio. I'm not sure what he was doing, but that was his tech stack, right? And he was just like, I simply cannot get it to do, like, ask the questions that I'm telling it to ask. If it can do that, then I'm all in. What does your day look like now, kind of day to day running Vapi?
Yeah, I'm like recruiting most of the day, running the sales team, and just running all the teams just to make sure everybody knows what they need to do on a given day, and then I'm blocking everybody in the emails. So that's basically my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm getting more, I'm not like, I don't know, I'm just like doing stuff that's fun. I'm literally just like the lubricant that just makes sure everything just keeps moving.
That's just what you gotta do.
And then just bring in more people.
Yeah.
That's during my entire day.
That's awesome.
Like, I came out of an interview, that's why I was 10 minutes late, and now I'm going into another interview. Like, that arrived, so I'll be talking to in a few minutes.
Where do you think AI is going to be in like 10 years? I know Sam Altman talks about AGI coming in 2025. What are your thoughts of like between now and like the next decade? Do you think you're going to have like a private chef, AI robot?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think 10 years is too crazy. I can't. I can say like 2 years probably. I think 2 years of voice for sure is going to be ubiquitous and everywhere, and we'll be talking to everything like people. I think we'll be doing most, like 80% of stuff through voice, and then everything else will be like generative interfaces, maybe that's 5-year time horizon. And so instead of having apps on your phone or like different UIs and stuff, it'll just be like a UI that's dynamically generated. So the LLM can like show you what you need at a particular moment, and then give you like a yes, no, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think everything will happen not through like widgets and apps and stuff, but kind of like in Her, for example, you see the like generative interface a little bit, where it's like you're talking through voice, but it's kind of showing you things visually that you need to see. That makes sense. But the majority of the interaction is voice-based. So that's how I would see the tech moving. I think agents are going to be a lot more prominent and just taking a lot of time for the application layer to start to be built out for like voice agent assistance for people. I think Siri is going to play a big part in the future, in consumer specifically, like for everybody. I don't think these sort of like people trying to build AI assistants like as apps or whatever is going to fly. I think it has to be something that's native to the platform that like is always running in the background. And Apple's going to shut down anyone trying to do that as an app. So they have an advantage where they can actually build like an AI assistant that's native and is always listening at all times, like locally and simply on device. So I think that's gonna be the biggest thing for like ordinary people, how it'll impact their lives. But still, the telephone will be very important moving forward as well. It's kind of like the universal API for businesses. If you think about it like that, like if you don't have a internet thing, if you don't have a REST API, you probably have like a phone API that you can call and just talk to. So I think like that interface will still be like pretty essential for all the whole companies. Because even though like consumers everywhere are going to have stuff that talks to people in their pockets, the bank is still going to operate over the phone. That's just how.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. Yeah.
Is there anything that you're kind of looking forward to most in terms of like improvements and whatnot, innovation?
Yeah, if someone can just figure out how to like automate my email box.
Your inbound box, that's not done yet, eh?
My email. If someone can automate my email inbox, there are like 100 startups working on it, and nobody's done it.
No one's done it properly.
That's the thing. Like, there's so much happening with AI at the developer level, but at the actual like platforms that impact your daily life, there's very few still. Like, as a code editor, like Cursor is like the one and only thing I think that gives me value as an AI platform. It's like an AI code editor that actually writes good code. Other than that, like, where the fuck is my AI stuff? Like, I still have to do everything myself.
Yeah.
You know, like, none of the platforms on top of this stuff are mature enough to be used yet. So I just love to see more platforms in the next couple of years that are actually useful. Because right now it's a crapshoot. Like, if you try a tool, it's like the tool could be dead in like 6 months, or the tool is just not good enough yet for most people. It's just like, yeah.
Do you think Vapi is going to move outside of voice at any time, or are you guys just trying to fully?
I think we'll probably start going omnichannel at some point. Like voice, like essentially we're building out these like deterministic conversation flows that can be defined as code or defined in a visual editor, and so that can't. We're basically representing like what is the whole customer to business interaction workflow. And right now that's over voice because voice is the best way to do it. But you'll probably want to use the same agents over text or whatever. So I think eventually it will go omnichannel. It's just like voice is large enough that I think the whole omnichannel thing and text thing is just like more of a side feature than like anything that's really important.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
We're definitely focused.
To guys that are trying to get into the industry, whether it's AI in general or like trying to build an agency off of voice, is there any advice that you'd give to them before like jumping headfirst?
Yeah. The general advice I give is like, look at all the different industries and where all the calls happen. Count the calls or find stats on the calls. Get the average value of each call and then just multiply the two. And it's like, okay, that was like the TAM to be captured of a specific vertical. So like healthcare, it's like, fucking, I don't know, like 20% of US call volume, multiply it by, if you look at specifically like, let's say like appointment scheduling, that's probably maybe like 1% of all calls or something in the US. Multiply that by, it's like 1,000 LTV per patient. If like that patient is actually new. And so that's like a one for, and so you can kind of figure out the TAM with that. And I think that can be done at the business level too. It's like, okay, how many calls do you get like this? What is the actual value of this call for your business? And then it's like, okay, well, this is going to generate $1 million in value for you. I should be able to charge $100K. And it's like the math is pretty easy the closer you get to just like regular people.
Yeah.
Is how I would think about it. So anywhere where there's like people who are losing money because they're not picking up the phone, or losing money after hours, like where there's like new revenue that can be generated by something 24/7. I think that's great. There's also like cost savings for sure, but I think it'll be easier to make more money and
absolutely
value you can bring them rather than like saving them the 1,000 agents they have in the Philippines, which is still valuable, for sure. Yeah. But if you can prove you can make them more money, like that's sick.
I think that's probably been one of our biggest selling points. They showed us their stats, and I think it was the month of September. They got almost 6,000 calls, like front desk calls to the receptionist, almost 6,000, and the answer calls were like I think 2,800 or something like that. So they're not picking up more than half, right?
That's what.
Right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then it should be a pretty easy sell. And I mean, like the customer journey is usually like, first we go in and automate something that's like a no-brainer, like, oh, we'll just do after hours. Nobody's picking those up anyway.
Yeah.
Value, and then eventually you can take the whole call tree at all times, but like you need to work up to that.
I feel like we are severely undercharging for that exact use case. It comes to you with that problem. We're not picking up half our calls. It's millions of dollars lost revenue. What would you charge for something like that?
I mean, ideally you want to be shooting for like something better than like a 4x ROI.
Right.
So if it costs you $100K, you're in the 400 or 500K.
Mm-hmm. So
pretty easy business case. You can show them on like a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
be like, I'll prove this first for a month. I'll do a 12th of the contract. If I can't show a 12th of this value, then just cancel the contract. Otherwise, this is a 12-month contract for $100K.
Last thing I want to do here, you let me know if you're okay with this. I have a clip from Kings of you kind of giving future graduates some advice. So I wanted to play that and kind of see what you think of what you said back there and what advice you'd give yourself now.
So my final words for the graduating class would be take your bad decisions, your mistakes, your failures, and take them with you as you leave this place, but don't take them for what they seem to be, but rather just take them as opportunities for future success, and use them to continue to develop yourself and your identity in this next chapter of your lives and onward.
So, I mean, that's true. I mean, I fucked up for like 3 or 4 years on my calendar app platform. I'm not fucked up, but just learned a lot in the failure of that platform, where never really made any big bets, never really figured out distribution or enterprise sales, and never really had ambitions that were big enough. But I feel like all of those are now corrected for with Vapi, where we do have big ambitions, we do have figured out enterprise sales. We have a plan that is actually like a multi-year kind of like plan, and our ambitions are like $1 trillion company. And so, yeah, I mean, so I don't see it as a waste of time. The 4 years I spent on Supercard, I definitely see it as like learning every possible mistake I could have made, such that the only thing I could do now is just like, is the path that without the mistakes. So
Awesome.
yeah. And so there's going to be new challenges moving forward too. Like now we're 24/7 hiring. How do you hire properly? How do you scale the team properly? How do you manage people? And how do you organize like the piece of people? That's going to be a big focus. And a lot of failures along the way with all the new challenges, but yeah, same.
Keep doing what you guys are doing. I know I'm loving it. We're able to provide our clients with a ton of value because of the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, man. All right, have a good one.
See you, dude. Take care.